What'd you expect? Hello, it is Romania Black, and I've just come back from my trip that I took last week, and my voice is kind of shot, and so I thought I have all my cosplay pieces here to be Falin, but my voice is kind of shot, but then I realized it kind of sounds really soft, which sounds a little bit like Falin's voice, so maybe this will work tonight. But yes, Romania Black in her KFC Falin form, so thank you, El Freya, for being the inspiration for this cosplay for this. I'm really excited. I'm going to a convention next month, and I don't know if I want to do exactly this cosplay. I definitely, if I do, I want to bring the KFC bucket because it has to happen. I really liked how the makeup turned out. I originally, in the photos that I was going to put on the Discord and on YouTube and on Twitter, I kept a piece of Falin's hair in her face, but then I tested it on screen for the reaction, and I was like, oh, this will be in my face the entire time, and you won't be able to see any of my expressions. So I clipped it out of the way. I pinned my hair out of the way, but I love this wig. I'm not usually a blonde wig person, but this blonde wig is everything. So the commission for El Freya, thank you. Your money was well spent in getting, I actually probably went over $50 on this, but I was just having too much fun getting Falin cosplay. The only thing I was going to do this cosplay sooner for you all, and I'm going to put the KFC bucket down. I was going to do it sooner for you all, but what ended up happening was that I had this really, really cool collar that came up, and it got canceled in delivery. And I was like, well, of course it did. So I had to buy this other collar, which is a lot smaller and more demure, mindful and demure. So then I took like a feather boa and went over the top of it just to make it even more fluffy and feathery. I doubt that I would use this I could probably take it off. I doubt that I would use it in an actual cosplay, but it felt like maybe too many feathers. There we go. We'll take that off. There we go. That's a little bit much. And it's also a little itchy. But it felt like a little too many feathers, I think. I had it back from Halloween. This was the collar I ended up getting that you can adjust and you can make it into shoulder feathers. I just liked it over the front because it looked more like the plumage that Falin would naturally have. And so we just went with that. And then I think if I was going to do it, I would get red gloves. And instead of these being the white feather gloves, do red. But this is a dress, and I could wear leggings underneath it, so we'll just see. But I'm really excited to be Falin. I'm excited to be her tonight. I doubt this episode will have anything to do with Falin, probably, but it was meant for last week, and here we are, so what can we do? But thank you, El Freya, for doing the commission for Falin. I'm so excited. I definitely want to cosplay as her at the convention I'm going to, but I don't know if I'm going to do KFC Falin or if I'm going to do like just regular mage Falin. I haven't decided that yet. So we'll just have to wait and see. But I guess I could put this through. Are you supposed to put it through a finger? I think you are. Anyway, so I've been gone for a while, but when we last left off, we are. Oh, there we go. When we last left off, we had gotten Iku, aka Asebi, into the party, which was a lot of fun. And yeah, we were about to eat some weird sheep. I had some people say they were disappointed I didn't do a video of cooking last week, but I'll be honest with y'all. I don't know if I'm going to do cooking this week either. Last week I couldn't do cooking because it was right until the last minute and I was about to leave town and I just had no time to record cooking. And this week, oh my goodness, my hair is already, it's trying to become Falin again. It's trying to like turn back into her. Oh no. But I didn't do it last week, and then this week I'm just getting back and getting this done in time so you can kind of see where it was doing, what it was wanting to do. But I don't know if I will be able, with the time crunch, to get the timing done by Friday. We shall see. And who knows, in anticipation of season 2, if enough people request it, I may try to make something, or not, or we'll just wait and see what ends up happening for everything else. But I'm really happy. I love the blood makeup. I'm really happy with how it turned out. It looks great. But we have some comments to talk about before we dive into episode 21. Oh my gosh, I can't believe we're at 21 of Dungeon Meshi. It's wild. So, Go Godlike 6179 says in episode 19, I love the parallel that is created for Marcel and the Mad Mage. long-living elves dabbling in dark arts for the sake of their loved ones. Yeah, the only thing I would say about that in terms of the Mad Mage is we know he's obviously obsessed with Delgal, but we don't know their backstory or the extent of it. So again, I don't want any spoilers as to what that might be. And I will go ahead and tell you all, I had the mods that flagged a lot of comments in episodes 20 and 19 because they were being spoilery and trying to give things away that happened in the manga or about the character Bible or about the episodes. So in my sweetest Falin voice, just be very careful about that. I feel like I could do ASMR and just be like, say the alphabet. Or something not legal, so. But anyway, but I do agree that we have our elves who are, I like the idea of the elves being so passionate, because usually like in Lord of the Rings, the elves are not the passionate ones, and here they very much are, so that's a lot of fun. Then we had Gus In pointed out for episode 20 about the vegetable lamb of Tartary, which is a myth from the 11th century. So basically, it is a legend zoophyte of Central Asia, once believed to grow sheep as its fruit. It was believed that sheep were connected to the plant by an umbilical cord and grazed the land around the plant. When all accessible foliage was gone, both the plant and the sheep died. So underlying the legend is the cotton plant, which is unknown in Northern Europe before the Norman conquest of Sicily. So yeah, so it's basically the Bormes. So I love the idea that there was a book and actual mythology tied to the sheep plant that we saw in episode 20, because I thought it was just some weird like acid trip creation, but it turns out to actually have root in something, which is very intriguing. I'm like, okay, all right. But then we have Elfreya, who says for episode 20, I didn't realize they were separating Asebi from Laios and also Marcel in the steam room. Yes, Marcel was probably developing a taste for naked beasts now, ha ha ha. Or at least chickens. It also makes you wonder how meal choices go when you invite Falin to dinner now. She is one guest you definitely don't want to offend. I mean, I feel as if this feels very cannibalistic that Falin's eating like the KFC as she is the Kentucky Fried Crisp Dragon, but oh well. Anyway, and then Moomin talks about in real life. I thought this was interesting because I was just at a speech competition this last week, and one of the categories was informative speaking. And so a lot of people had comments about informative speeches. And one of them, as we were watching these informative speeches, one of the people on our team, they gave a speech about the wolves of Chernobyl, which are wolves that have developed an immunity to cancer because of the radiation they've been exposed to. It's crazy. You should go look it up. But the news was talking about dire wolves being brought back. And there's a really good Hank Green video if you find it on YouTube. But the dire wolves being brought back are not actually being brought back. They are synthetic species. They're kind of chimeras, kind of like Falin. They're being brought back by taking the DNA of extinct dire wolves and combining them with that of gray wolves to create this like synthetic species that is close enough to a dire wolf. And of course, the research that's going into this is talking about, yeah, that's really cool for bringing back, and they call it de-extinction. It feels very Jurassic Park because it is. But they were talking about how creating these synthetic species, you're bringing back animals that don't really have an ecosystem anymore, because dire wolves are from 13,000 years ago or more, up to 80,000 years ago with some of the DNA they found. And you're looking at animals who don't have an environment or their prey exist anymore. So what are you going to do about that? And then on top of that, you're dealing with the fact that, you know, these creatures, if they're not going to be in an ecosystem that will support them, are they just going to be on a display like zoo animals? What are the implications of this? What is the implication of man creating synthetic species? So it brings up all of these criteria and all of these things that are just fascinating to me. So it's interesting, but I'm very here for the this wig. This wig is doing it for me today. I'm like, I put this wig on. I was like, ooh, oh yes, oh we are here for this bouncy blonde. So yeah. Anyway, I'm really excited. I appreciate you all for dealing with my voice, but I couldn't wait. I was like, I want to record Dungeon Meshi. I need it, so we'll just have to wait and see. But with that being said, We're not going to waste any more time. I'm super excited. I hope you all are as well. The Falin in me is ravenous to see what we get. So we're going to pop these suckers in and go ahead and start. And we are going to watch episode 21 of Dungeon Meshi. And we're going to do that here, if it'll get ready for me, in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. I'm trying to think of other cosplay I could use with this wig. I definitely think I could do, like, if I want to do Misa Amane from Death Note, I think I could do that. Which she would be a lot of fun to do at a cosplay. Or you could even do, like, female Nanami, I guess. If you wanted to be crazy like that. Why not? Definitely better than the Nanami wig I wore for Jujutsu Kaisen. I need to get some, like, red gloves, honestly, if I want to do Falin. I guess I could do the elf mage if I wanted to, because his hair is kind of like theirs. I just had to paint my body, like, orange to do it. But I feel I'd look too much like an Oompa Loompa. Yay! Okay. We're on episode 21. So we have 4 episodes left of this season. How are we ending it off? Oh. Oh, cute. Aww. That's adorable. Oh. Okay. Ooh. Oh, interesting. Mm. Oh, I like she's getting his, like, his, what was it? Oh. Or it's the elves. Or it's the elves. Or or it's the elves from the OP. Yes. Ooh. Oh my god, of the little bird. Uh-oh. Oh no. Really? Uh-oh. Well. Right, yeah. He sounds like a peach. Uh-oh. Meanwhile, in this thruple. Well, it's not good. Mm. Oh no. Why not? Shit. Uh-oh. Not good. Not good, Cotton. Get out. Kabru's like, I'm not going to miss the tea. Absolutely not. Oh. Oh. Oh, shit. Oh. Oh. Okay. We got a glimpse. We got a glimpse. Yeah. Uh, Oh, interesting. Interesting. Oh, wow. All these different elves. Interesting. This one with the tattoos. Ooh. Uh-huh. Oh. Oh. Ooh. Ooh, are they all women? I don't think they all are. No, not the one. Uh. Oh. Oh, does he have him under control? Oh. Oh. If only you and Laios could team up together. Oh. Oh, wow. Yes, tell us more. Mm. He's weird. Uh. Huh. Hmm. Oh, I mean, of course. Look at him. Oh. Oh, wow. I mean, well, but yes. Oh my God. So there's 6 of them? Oh. Oh my God. Oh. Oh wow, the little fairy elf. Oh, 15 years ago. Okay. Ah. Oh. Okay. Okay. Hmm. Oh, Kabru. Oh. Oh. Who's this one? Oh. Oh. Oh shit. Oh. Oh, interesting. That voice. Oh, the fairy circling him. Oh shit. Oh. 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 What? Is that Mojito's voice? Oh my god. Meanwhile. Oh. Right. Oh. Right. Since she's all about these eggs. Ha! What are we doing? Are we making French toast? Oh. Oh, Eggs Benedict. Oh. Oh. Huh. Oh. No, she's part cat, so she can sense it. Oh. Oh, shit. Oh my god, yeah, why? Well, yes. Oh. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh no. Oh my god. Oh. Shit. I mean. Oh no. Oh shit. Ah. Oh, well, what else? Oh. Okay. So what do we do with that? Uh-oh. Right? Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh no. Sebby's like, why me? Where are we going? What is happening? I don't think we went through any paintings. Uh-oh. Is this the past? Is it the ghost of Delgal that has brought them here? Oh my god, Senshi! Oh my god. Okay. Oh. 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 Or maybe because she's part monster, it makes her more tame. What? What? This feels rather cultish. What is this? Uh, what is going on? Oh my god, I don't like how that sounds. Yeah, what is going on? Of course you do. Uh, uh, uh. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god, Laios. Oh my god. Laios. No. Laios. Laios. Bless his heart. Interesting. Oh. From above ground, you say? I wonder why she's in such a good mood, if that's normal. Uh. Oh. This feels kind of cultish. I don't know how to feel about this. What? What? Bitch, what? Oh my god. I'm living. Oh my god. What? Oh my god. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh my god. Yeah, keep it to yourself. What is happening? Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh. Oh, girl. Get it. Uh. Oh my god. Oh my god. No. That's weird. Hmm. Yeah. I was gonna say suppressing aggression. Okay. Ha! Well, these two. Oh my god. This feels very cultish and like something's wrong. And there's those griffins again. Oh. Oh, the grandson of Delgal. What is this? Oh my god. Oh my god, there's so much food. Ah! Nope. And Laios! Oh. Oh. Okay. Uh-oh. So why are they there, though? Why are they there? Yeah. It's weird for a Sebi to just eat. Oh. Oh. Okay, and we go back to episode 1. Oh. 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 Yeah. Yeah, oh no! Oh no! Prophecies. Oh. 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 What? Really? Oh. Oh. You got the wrong person. Oh my god. I mean, he probably will say Falin, but oh my god. No, no, no. Oh wow. Just say no. Oh, Cinchi, what are you being all Burt Reynolds there on the bed? Mm. You shameless bastard. Oh, Cinchi. Oh. Okay. Mm. Yeah. Yeah, to keep that sense of normalcy. Okay. Uh, yeah. Aw. Ooh. Ooh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh shit. No, I don't want that yet. How dare you? How dare you go back to us? Well, we're not getting the Edie, I guess, but oh my God. This was mildly concerning. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to yell for y'all to hear me on this one. But this episode was a bit concerning as far as the content that we got for it. So I'm going to scooch on up here and we're going to talk about the content of this episode. But I'm a little bit concerned for Laios' group. I'm still not entirely convinced that they're in a safe place. The fact that they've been transported to this they're at the castle and it seems to be protected by this barrier that I'm sure the dark mage has put up that not only allows these people to live forever, and if they leave they will slowly disintegrate and become fiends, which is a problem, but the fact that all of the monsters that are within there are tamed and controlled is a problem, especially with Asebi being there. So we need to talk about that. And then on top of that, we have the elves have showed up finally in the season and they look like a bunch of peaches. So we need to go over this and I'm going to try not to shoot my voice any more than it has been, but anyway, we need to talk about this. So I want to go back to this episode and hopefully you all can hear me. And it's like, I feel like I'm going to crank the volume up when I edit, but I'm glad that Shiro's group made it out. I liked I liked how Mizuro, she was slowly like taking off his armor and then putting on his like robes and everything to like get him out and ready to go. I also like a little bit of how much time has passed because he has a little bit of facial hair there. But he says he's going to tell the Lord what's going on. And Kabru's like, I'll go with you because we need to make sure we tell him that Falin is now a chimera. She's now a monster. She's hurting people. But we don't necessarily have to bring up Laios if we don't have to, right? Bros before hoes, basically. So I did like the little thing with Cobalt where Cobalt was lifting McBell up and letting McBell see out the window. That was super cute. But also the elves are here. Right? The elves have arrived. Kabru's like, oh shit, this is bad. There's a little bird on the front of theirs, and it's a canary. So it's a ship of the Western Elves. They're known as the Canaries, which if you've ever, learned any mining stories, it's like the canary in the mines. They would put the canary down in the mines, and whenever there was smoke or carbon monoxide poisoning, anything that would kill the canary, it was a sign for the miners to get out before they died. So the Canaries are kind of like seeming to be a preemptive elf force that preemptively goes in and before the dungeons get out of hand. Also, the fact that there are multiple dungeons established, not just the one we're currently in, that have gone amok and let monsters come out, is a bit concerning because I didn't quite realize that when we started this story. I was like, wait, there are other dungeons? There are more dungeons in this world that have monsters from other dimensions coming through them? That seems problematic. So I guess we'll find out more. But we have established that these are called the Canaries and they are elves. And Kabru was taken in by the former vice captain or vice commander, took Kabru in. But Kabru talks about how some racial discrimination kept him from moving up the ranks, surprising no one in this world because there's a lot of segregation going on above ground, which we've talked about previously in previous episodes, that the dungeons kind of subvert that segregation in a weird way. So we've talked about that previously, but Kabru said that he couldn't move up the ranks because of racial barriers, which the dungeon kind of takes care of in a way. But we'll see about that. So yeah, he talks about them being called the Canaries. Their mission is to investigate the dungeons and take control of them. Yeah, and they're all in these like crazy cloaks. They kind of look like rangers from Lord of the Rings. Word had it they were applying pressure on the Lord of the Island, and so it looks like they're cracking down on the dungeon now. And I liked what Kabru said when Shuro was like, "Oh, well, don't the humans, the tall men, own the islands?" And Kabru's like, "Yeah, but they're only going to live for so long. The elves are going to outlive them." And it's like, yeah, the elves just have to play a waiting game. They're like, "We'll just wait until you all are dead and then come in Hamlet style and just take over the dungeon, and there's not much you can do about it." So I like Mizuru the whole time is also like shaving his face while this is all going on. Meanwhile, Namari's having a throuple with Kiki and Kaka, as one does. And then Kabru shows up with Shuro. Shuro doesn't exactly say what's happened to Falin. And the elves have already beat them to the Lord of the Island. Now, Namari asks if they're eating monsters, and Shuro's like, "Yep, they sure were," which they're all kind of disgusted about, which we'll talk more about later on. But yeah, so they go in, and the elves, if they get a hold of the dungeon, it's all going to be over. Because my hometown thrived because of a dungeon. But one day the monsters flooded out, and the elves showed up, and many people died. The elves came and many people lost their lives, including Kabru's family. Now, sorry, we have to question, why did the monsters escape from the dungeon? What were the factors leading to that? We don't know. But beyond that is the idea, my mother worked hard to raise me on her own. Poor Kabru, he was a latchkey kid. Kabru's a latchkey kid just trying to make it on his own. He's like, "I don't want to see that happen again." The existing system where only certain races wield power is detrimental to everyone involved. Yeah, it seems like only the elves really deal all the power, and they just designate the tall men or whoever they want to, the dwarves or otherwise, to wield power on their terms. So yeah, these elves got kind of an oligarchy going on. What we gonna do about it? That's what we're gonna find out. But I'm curious because of something that Kabru says later, but we'll wait till we get to that. So they open up the door, and oh my, we have 6 elves who have shown up. The one elf, she looks straight out of Freerun. She's just hanging out, leaned over the table, looks absolutely bored to be there. So we're going to put her down here. She's bored elf. We got the bored blonde. Old bored blonde. She don't really want to be there. She's just like, whatever. Then we have a studious blonde. She seems the most like Marcel, where she's the one that has access to the little fairy that's with them as well, that zooms around. I love when they were zooming around Kabru. That was really cute. Then we have a tattoo puppet master elf. So the tattooed puppet master elf, seems like they were manipulating the Lord of the Island. It seemed like they were like, either they had got him drunk or they were possessing him. He had his hand on the chair that the Lord of the Island was sitting in, and the Lord of the Island was just doing whatever he asked him to. I mean, it would be kind of funny in a dark and horrible way if the Lord of the Island wasn't controlled by him at all and was just doing it because he's like, whatever. But I'm like, is the puppet master elf controlling him? He has like tribal markings. I don't know how that works. I guess we'll find out. Then we have the really high-pitched voice elf. She has like the super high squeaky voice. So we're going to call her Tinkerbell. She has a little Tinkerbell high squeaky voice, and she's very rambunctious and precocious. Then we have like the boss queen elf, the dark-skinned elf. She is gorgeous, and I love her. I also kind of love that we have like a black elf in all of this. I like it, because usually when you think of like medieval elves, they're all like blonde and pale. So I kind of love that about her. It reminds me of the new Game of Thrones series House of Dragon, where some of the Targaryens, like they are too. I like the incorporation of people in color with like classical mythological creatures. So I love her. She looks amazing. So we're gonna get her. She's the boss elf. She seems like she's in charge. She seems like she's the commander, and she's at the head of the table on the other side of the Lord of the Island. Then we have the one that I'm pretty sure is voiced by Tsukishima from Haikyuu, Mahito from Jujutsu Kaisen. I'm pretty sure that's that voice actor. He plays pretty typecast characters. You know, he seems like a ripe old asshole. And so we're going to call him Grumpy Elf. He seems like he's been through some shit and might be a jerk, and I might not like him later, but we don't know where that's going to go with him, so it's fine. Whatever. But they seem to have just barged in, are going over things on the island. They've just, like, got the wine out, and they're like, whatever. I like the one elf. She's like, we're kind of in the middle of a discussion. The one that looks like Marcel seems to be, like, the youngest elf. It concerns the current state of the dungeon. I like that, Mr. Gnome, Taru, he's there, and he's not having any of this. He's like, But the Lord of the Island, it seems easily manipulated. He's like, the Lord of the Island is like, oh God, in Lord of the Rings, it's Boromir and, no, it's not their dad, but it's Eowyn's dad, where it's like worm tongue sticking over him when he like convinces him. Is it Eomir? But anyway, like he's easily manipulated. It seems kind of like that. And so then Kabru talks about a human who was transformed into a monster. And they're like, oh, a chimera already. Damn it, a chimera. It's advancing quicker than we thought. So I'm like, I'm really curious. Like, as far as we know, the mage has only been interested in this one dungeon. And we'll talk about Delgal and all of that. But they've only been interested in the one dungeon. So where did these other dungeons, like, come from? Like, what's the origin of them? What's the deal? We don't know any of that. So I'm going to be curious to see, like, what we get as we go further into the series, like with the history of the dungeons and the chimeras, because it seems like chimeras are happening all over the place. And it's not just, it's the ancient forbidden magic that's being used everywhere and not just solely in this dungeon, which is interesting to me. But yeah, I like this one elf. She's like, borders become inconsequential when lives are at stake. I like that the gnome says that he's being treated as an elderly person. He's like, you all are older than me. And Tansu, he's like, why don't we let them just have their way? And they just like, he just does whatever they say. And Kabru's like, I wish I had the ability to take control of the dungeon. One thing that I love is that Kabru's whole thing is that he wants control of the dungeon. Look, here's our thing. If Laios could just defeat the magician and is like, Kabru, you want to be king of the dungeon? I'll let you be king of the dungeon. I mean, I'll be your queen. But I'm kidding. But I was thinking that, let's be real. Kabru would be queen of the dungeon. Let's be real. But yeah, but I was like, maybe Kabru could be like, I'll take control of the dungeon. You can handle all the monsters, Laios. You can be our monster task force. And Laios would be like, really? Like, I think that they would definitely do that. He's like, I began searching for ways to assist other capable adventurers. I like that he seems to be pretty young when this happened, so he must not have been with the elves very long before he left. The majority turned out to be self-centered and insignificant. And then I heard rumor about the Toad siblings. They seem to come from good stock. And he's got good instincts, but he's too selfless. And he's weird. Oh, I realize my Falin wig is not short enough. It should be shorter, but I love her with slightly longer hair, so we're just going to go with it. But yeah, the more I looked into him, the stranger he seemed. He wasn't strong, but he somehow made it to lower levels. Oh, but I hunched this man might play a big part in the fate of the island. Of course he will. He's Laios. But yeah, I've been eager to talk with him in person and form my own opinion. I love that Kabru tried all these chances to talk to him and he just ignored him. But he just really only cares about monsters. He's incapable of considering the future of the island. I love that Kabru kind of views him as a dunce that just likes monsters. And he's not wrong. But the funny thing is, I think that Kabru might be surprised when he sees Laios again. Because Laios does want to rescue Falin. And this revelation that there's this supposed prophecy surrounding them might be an indication that, you know, there are certain things that Laios might be interested in rather than just the monsters themselves. So maybe Kabru will be surprised, but his view of Laios does not really lend well for the shipping, you know. So he's like, currently, Among all the tall men, he's the closest to reaching the heart of the dungeon. Technically, he already has, right? Didn't they just get transported to the heart of the dungeon? Didn't that just happen? We'll see. This could be his one and only chance. But I can't let the elves interfere. Dealing with him has to wait. I love that Kabru's like, I'll kill him later. But for now, I've got to let him get a hold of the dungeon. And I just got to beat back all of these elves first. So Kabru's like, I want to leave it to Laios. Oh, my marker is like almost shot. And I need to distract the elves. Okay. All right. And I love Kabru's looking so grumpy and Laios is just smiling his ass off. It's great. So then the Lord of the Island's like, just whatever, do like you please. I love the little fairy showing up and Kabru's like, don't go get everybody else yet. We can't, is like, you know, the dungeon's growth is similar to a person's growth. We need to talk about nourishment. And he says 15 years ago, my hometown was destroyed because of a dungeon. And they're like, oh, you were the only one that survived. She, the vice commander, must have doted on you, but yet you became an adventurer. And he's like, oh, well, I wanted to enlist with you elves, but the racial barrier stood in my way. Knowing that Laios is such a people person and that, we got a little glimpse into Kabru's past. And I know I said Laios, but I meant Kabru. We got a little glimpse into Kabru's past, knowing that Kabru is such a people person and he's like so interested in interpersonal communication. The fact that he tried to join the elves to clear out the dungeons and was denied because he was a tall man instead of an elf, I think speaks volumes into part of his personality and why he's the way that he is. And he says it all with a smile, but I'm like, he basically smiles at the elves and goes, yes, because of your racism, I was denied working with you and doing what I could. And it's like, oh shit. Okay. So, I mean, we know whenever Kabru's, oh, let me turn that off. Like, we know whenever Kabru's smiling, it's not actually a good thing. But then he puts on this act, right? I have no doubt in my mind that Kabru wants to help, like, scale the dungeons and protect people. But whenever he puts on this act for the elves, he's like, I wanted to do what I could and I wanted to try everything. It's like, like, okay, Kabru, to prevent another tragedy like the one in my hometown. I'm like, I don't know. Kabru seems like a gossip and he seems like he's here for the drama. So I'm like, is he telling the elves the truth of it all? Or is he also kind of bullshitting them? Because I feel like he's also kind of bullshitting them. Like, oh, you should visit the vice commander and show her how you're doing once in a while. Now this one gray-haired elf is just like not saying a word. And they're like, and? You mentioned nourishment. What about it? They're like cutting through the bullshit. This one gray-haired elf seems to get through Kabru's bullshit and is like, explain yourself. Just say what you're going to say and let's get on with it. So Kabru's like, well, thanks to your efforts. I like there's a sweat drop going down his face. Like he's actually kind of terrified to be talking from the elves and trying to keep his cool, but he is sweating as he's describing what's happening. The dungeon in Utea collapsed swiftly. But many soldiers and civilians lost their lives. So basically, it seems like, you know, the elves just kind of come in there and wipe everything out, but they don't really give a shit because they're elves and they're going to live forever. And they're like, I mean, some of you, it's like Lord Farquaad from Shrek. The elves are like, some of you may die, but it's a sacrifice we are willing to make. So the point that I was like, hold on, was when they said the dead turned into monsters. And I was like, huh? So they talked about, specifically Kabru did, about the dead becoming monsters. Are we thinking that those monsters are chimeras? So are we thinking that some being there on Kabru's island used dark magic, forbidden magic, to resurrect the dead as monsters like what happened with Falin? Do we think that that's what happened? Now, technically, Kabru and Laios and the others have died in the dungeon and been brought back to life. So since they've been resurrected once, does that mean that they are potentially subject to be resurrected as monsters? I don't know. We might have to find out. But that's terrifying. They returned to monsters and they ate people alive. And there were soldiers who were ambushed from behind. Even if you charge in with sheer numbers, it's going to be like Utea all over again. So Kabru says, I propose we seal the dungeon and not feed it. So we're going to seal the dungeon before it gets any bigger and become more of a problem. So Kabru wants to evacuate everybody, seal the dungeon, and then that way the elves don't destroy it and cause a muck and kill people unnecessarily. Damaging the dungeon through combat can't be what you want either. We'll just evacuate everyone gradually. I've got connections. I know people. Kabru's like, I know folks. I got some leads. And the elves are like, let's think about this. Now, Shuro, of course, says Kabru ate monsters, knowing his background and his history. And it's like, yeah, I can't believe Kabru ate them either. But now, you know, he's ate the fruit of the dead. So who knows where that's going to lead us. So they decide to go with his plan. And then this elf that goes up towards him, like one of his eyes is like a lazy eye. Like he's just like, he looks as if he has bags under his eyes, like the dark mage. So, and his eyes are completely black, you know. So I'm sure he'll clearly be a very sunny dispositioned ally. So anyway, we cut to Laios and crew, and they're talking about the metaphor about eggs. And if you put the two souls, like with Asebi and the cat soul they've merged with, and Falin and the dragon soul, you know, how does that work? Are their souls like scrambled eggs? Is one soul more overpowering the other? How does that work? And they're still trying to figure out all the nuances with the eggs. So then they decide to make Egg Benedict, which y'all are going to hate me. Y'all are going to hate me, but I like my eggs in two forms, fried and scrambled. I'm just not a big egg person anyway. And I like fried eggs, and I like scrambled eggs, but I don't like raw eggs. Over easy eggs to me are disgusting. I just cannot. And I'm so afraid to cook with raw egg because I'm afraid I'm going to get it wrong and get food poisoning. And that's kind of the last thing I want to do. So I don't know if I'm going to be cooking this episode, not because I'm being lazy, right? Not because I'm being lazy, but I don't want to make something that I'm not going to eat because that seems like a waste of resources. I think Senshi would be madder at me if I made something and just threw it away. I think Senshi would be mad. And I like cooking on this show when it's things I know I would try and want to eat. But I've had Eggs Benedict before. I've had raw eggs. I've had eggs over easy. They're not for me. I know a lot of people love over easy eggs, and that's cool. Now, if we were making French toast, I'd make some French toast because I like that. And I thought for a second when he was getting the eggs and the bread out, I was like, oh, we're going to make French toast, because usually Eggs Benedict is over like an English McMuffin, which, by the way, English muffins, I don't like English muffins either. I'm not a ham person. I'm not an English muffin person. Y'all are like, what do you eat? And I'm like, exactly. So I'm just not an Eggs Benedict person. So I may find a recipe and put it and link it in the description so y'all can go see somebody else make it and be like, oh, look at that, isn't that cool? And they can get credit for it. But I just don't like Eggs Benedict. But it's cool that they made it. It's cool they showed, and it makes sense, right? So Asebi, Iku, was having some reactions to looking around over their shoulder. And I don't know. I don't know if it was Laios' ghost necessarily that was getting their attention. I'm not totally convinced by that. I think it could have been the lunatic mage or something else, honestly. But I do like that it's Chilchuck that noticed Asebi flinching, because they've kind of had a relationship with them so far. So yeah, so Laios talks about this ghost and how they've become more prevalent over time, and they've been seeing them more and more frequently and in more and more clear visions, which is disturbing and a little bit problematic. And Laios is like, they've been scaring me and I've been avoiding them. And I'm like, uh-oh, that's not good. And so everybody's kind of freaked out, and they're like, well, what do they want? And the ghost is like, oh, aren't you grateful I saved you from the magician? So we find out that they saved them from the dungeon. And they're like, well, thanks for doing that. Why was it? And they're like, what should we do? And he's like, we should talk to this person. And so then what do they say there? What did they say they were wanting to do? He says he wants us to meet someone. So it's like, well, I like that Chilchuck's like, it better not be the Grim Reaper. They're like, take us to this person. So here's the thing. The ghosts take them to the golden castle that's like in the middle, the center. Do they traverse through time and space? Did they how does this work? Did they travel to another dimension? What just happened? It was like an acid trip. And then they suddenly ended up in this like alternate dimension. So the question is, are they in the alternate dimension where the monsters are from? And the mage has just given them magic to tame the monsters? Where we be? What we be doing, show? I don't know. So they get taken to the Golden Castle, but we don't exactly know what dimension we're in. Are we in the dungeons? Are we in the dungeon? Are we in like the heart of the dungeon? How do we get out? Well, how does that work? What's going to happen? We don't know. But they wake up and this feels very cultish. It feels a little culty. I'm not going to lie. Also, with the unicorn, something that's interesting is that all of the villagers, especially some of them that are more prominent, have like a mismarking, which kind of reminded me of like a chimera or which a calico cat is kind of a chimera in a way. But like the one guy has all the freckles and then somebody else has like the splotches of birthmarks on their skin. Like they're all kind of off in a way. Not that it's a bad thing, but it's just different. But yeah, everybody's raising like the dire wolves and the cockatrice and everything. And the one thing that kind of freaks me out is that Asebi is being tame and the barrier is like causing Asebi to not be aggressive or rambunctious. The reason why that bothers me is because this seems to be some place that the lunatic magician has set up with this barrier for Delgal's grandson to stay there. I don't know if Delgal's grandson has made a deal with the lunatic magician. It sounds kind of like they have. We're going to get back into that part of the episode. But if the lunatic magician shows up there, they can't fight because of the barrier. Asebi is useless. Now, granted, with that, Falin can't fight because if Falin goes there, she's going to be domesticated. But it worries me because I don't know how they're going to fight back. I'm a little concerned about that. I'm a little worried about how that's going to go. So we're just going to have to see. But yeah. Also, if you want like a little sapphic shipping, you could have Asebi getting all up on Marcel. But okay. But yeah, apparently they've been chosen by the prophecy. And these people have been here for 1,000 years waiting for them to arrive. Now, the weird thing is the ghosts, I guess, that left were just trying to get out because they couldn't take it anymore and they couldn't take it lost in this like village-esque scenario. So they were like, let's just try to get out. I don't know how that works. But anyway, so Marcel's like, oh my God, the Minotaur scene. I appreciated when we had Burt Reynolds across the rug Senshi, where he's just like all stretched out there. Like, I appreciated that. I appreciated Senshi giving that to us. That was good fan service. Senshi is our fan service focus in this series, and I'm 100 times here for it. But the funny thing is that Laios imagining Marcel and Asebi's boobs, but then comparing them to the Minotaurs, I'm like, Laios is just monster sexual. He's not really into Marcel sexually or Asebi. He's just into the idea of monsters. I mean, if he was in a Pokemon game, he'd be a Pokemon breeder for sure. But like, my dude, I like that Laios is not, his thing is not hentai. His thing is not like normal pornography like with women. It's just like monster pinups. My dude. Bless. So yeah. So then these ladies are like, these ladies, when they're asking to dress up Marcel and Asebi, it reminded me a lot of the series I just finished called Land of the Lustrous. If you've not checked out Land of the Lustrous, you need to do it. It's amazing. I can't spoil anything, but it's great. But there is a concept of these women wanting to dress up something they haven't seen in so many years that has to do with that series. Right? Although, when they first fashioned Marcel with this like space outfit, it reminded me a lot of Land of the Lustrous, and also was like centuries ahead of its time. I want this Marcel. This outfit looks absolutely amazing and I love it. Give me it, please. I love this outfit. It looks great. She's like, well, being isolated from the outside of the world for millennium would alter fashion as well. Meanwhile, Chilchuck's like, y'all have had enough time to perfect booze. We're good. I love that. That's absolutely amazing. But yeah, so he said he serves it to the orcs as well, and they seem to like it. But that's interesting. I don't know. We didn't see any orcs, so I'm curious where that is. But the fact they've been there for 1,000 years is interesting. And Laios is just obsessed with the cow, which if you look at the sword, it's already changed. When he meets up with Chilchuck and Senshi, it's already changed into the lion version. So curious. But yeah. Where's Marcel Itsumi? I like Itsumi in the orange dress. I imagine the colors would have been swapped. I like Asebi in red. I think it's a better color for them. But the teal is more docile than the red. So, okay. And then Marcel in the red is absolutely beautiful. And I like her braid. But also it looks like the jewelry she's wearing are the treasure bugs kind of, which is cool. But yeah, the other outfit options that she had, one was very much like a warrior with all the belts around the corset, which was cool. I liked the tribal one with the horns was interesting and the elk ears. I personally liked the like luau flowers with the flower bikini, but you know, she chose the chamest. And then Laios, of course, has this moment where it's almost like ship bait. And you think that Laios is hitting on Marcel, but then he really is obsessed with Asebi being into her. And Marcel's like, oh my God, I can't with you right now. Yeah. She almost leaves a blush like, what? And he's like, why is Itsumi so attached to you? And she's like, well, that's your question. Which, you know what? Bisexual Marcel agenda. I'm here for it. So yeah, I don't like the fact that Asebi is like regressed to infancy in this episode, because the fact that she's like lost autonomy is terrifying to me, and I don't know what that's going to do in the future. I don't like that. That makes me nervous. So, but yeah, Laios, like, there are multiple barriers here layered on top of each other. And Marcel's like, I wish I could understand this magic and figure it out. She's like, everything I've tried to study gets censored. She's like, I want to figure out how to work this magic in this world so that we can, you know, figure out how to use it. And I do like the idea that Marcel's still trying to figure out all of the magic usages in the dungeon, and Laios is trying to like understand the monsters and everything. And it's not this them wanting to like abandon rescuing Falin to learn all of this. They're just like, damn, wish we could stay and figure it out. My thing is, how are they getting out? Because they established that the only ones that got out were the ghosts that disintegrated. How is this crew getting out of this place? Because this has like a Hotel California feel to it, and I'm not liking those vibes at all. So I'm like, what are we going to do about that? So yeah, but this place is amazing. So then they lead them to Yad, and Yad is Delgal's grandson, interestingly enough. So they serve this food. Y'all, I ain't making this food. For one thing, the bottom looks like the 1970s like Spam with gelatin like fruit salad on top of it. And the gelatin salad, yeah, vegetables and slime aspic, absolutely not. The beef rib steak, if I were to make anything, it'd probably be the beef rib steak. But again, one person eating ribs is a lot. And then the rabbit soup, I don't know how to make the rabbit soup. So, you know what? This is a nice meal. Looks great. If any of y'all have tried these things, I'm curious. And they ate some, I did look it up right before this episode when I was looking up the recipes. It said 5-year-old minotaur meat. I will tell you all, from raising cattle, a 5-year-old steer would taste like a rubber tire. Yeah, no, that's a big no. Usually steers, because once you castrate them, they don't produce testosterone anymore, which is fine. You don't want testosterone in your meat anyway. It would be tough, like a tire. But usually the meat, you usually produce a steer and package it at like a year old, because that's when the meat's like kind of at its peak. Anytime after that, the meat gets tougher and tougher. We had a cow years ago that she unfortunately got cancer in her eye. And so her eye had to be removed. And then her other eye had to be removed. And the vet was like, you know, she can't see. So there's a very good chance this cow is going to not live too long after that, because they're not like human where they have autonomy and can like manage being blind. A cow is not like that. And so there's just too many hurdles for that animal, and they just eventually won't be able to live. So we had the option of either just letting her die or processing her. And I told my family her name was Maggie. And I was like, look, I get that we don't want to be wasteful. We need to process her. She's only going to be good for hamburger. She was like 10 years old. But I was like, just don't tell me when we're eating if it's Maggie. And they were like, okay, we won't. So I don't know. Do I know if I ate Maggie or not? Who knows? But I'm going to guess if it was a tough piece of meat, it was probably her. But yeah, the Minotaur meat. Of course, Laios is like all about it instantly. And they're like, oh, do you regularly eat monsters? And they're like, no, we don't eat at all because we're immortal and we can't taste anything. They're like, we're basically living a cursed existence here. You know, the lunatic magician is just keeping us here against his will, and we can't really do anything. So we're just like, you know, trying to escape and become ghosts so that we can, you know, stop existing. And I'm like, oh, this is kind of creepy. They're stuck in this paradise, but it's actually like a living hell. But he says here, by the time that I got to talk to him, by the time I was old enough to understand things, you couldn't have proper conversations with him anymore. So I don't know. I don't know how that works. Another thing about the lunatic magician that's kind of weird is this idea that Delgal went to the surface, and Delgal went to the surface and disintegrated and is literally dead. But for some reason, the lunatic magician thinks we're going to find him in the dungeon. How does that work? Why does that work? Why does the lunatic magician think we're going to find him in the dungeon when we know he disintegrated into dust? I don't know. That seems weird to me. But yeah, and they're like, we really don't want to eat. Another thing that's kind of freaky is Asebi is just eating all of the things because she's been tamed by this place. And I don't like that because Asebi wouldn't eat monsters and now she's just eating it like it's no big thing. That freaks me out. I don't like that. I don't like that for Asebi. So Yod says that Delgal blamed himself for turning the magician's focus on black magic, which I don't know why that is. Why would Delgal be the one responsible for that? I thought that the elf liked the king that was assassinated, not Delgal. So I thought maybe by having Falin go in and looking for Delgal, the lunatic magician is trying to punish Delgal for maybe they thought they were responsible for the king, and that's why they turned to black magic. I don't know. Maybe. And maybe they're looking for Delgal to punish him. I don't know. So they say that the grandfather made it to the surface, Delgal did, and got the people to call to arms and then turned to dust. And Yod's like, well, at least there's some solace in knowing he's been liberated from his suffering. So, but the question is, has he been liberated from his suffering? Or is that just all hearsay? I love that our crew was like, oh crap, all those ghosts that escaped, we kind of blasted them with holy water and may have been responsible for them disintegrating, and we may have made ice cream out of them. Uh-oh. How's that work? So they need to talk about the prophecy. The one who will defeat the lunatic magician and free us has a sword with wings. And Laios is like, well, shit. The winged lion is the guardian deity of this kingdom. So apparently, the lunatic magician has imprisoned this guardian deity in the depths of the dungeon. I mean, they were in the first OP. They were in the second OP. So, okay. I guess they're there. And so he's like, Sir Laios, the bearer of the sword will defeat the lunatic magician and become the new king. Of course, Marcel and Chilchuck are like, oh, hell no. Laios does not need to be king of any kingdom. No. And Laios is like, I just want to see monsters. I don't want to become no king. I mean, I could liberate you guys, but... Of course, Yad is like, got the sparkly eyes against Laios, and Laios is like, I just want to hang out with monsters. So just let me think about this, please. If y'all don't care. Okay. So I liked at the end, oh my God, Cincy on the bed is killing me. I'm sure there are a lot of people that were happy about seeing Cincy on that bed. Y'all do you. You like a manly man. I see how it is. I'm like, Laios is my jam, but y'all get that Cincy kick. I thought it was cute how Marcel was like, can we just let Asebi be at the bottom of the bed and I just sleep next to you? I kind of like that. Do I ship Marcel and Chilchuck? Not really, but I do like the platonic Chilchuck Marcel agenda where she's like, can I just please sit by you? Please, I don't want to go off by my own. I'm like, Chilchuck, be nice. I honestly think it's honestly, there's a lot of people that are like, oh, you can't do like co-ed rooming and stuff, and they'll try to make it sexual. I'm like, no, I absolutely think that you can room with guys and sleep next to them and not have anything happen, right? I think it's absolutely possible. I can't tell you how many college parties that I, did in college and like went to sleep next to a guy, nothing happened. It was totally fine and whatever. But I was like, come on, Chilchuck, don't kick Marcel out of bed. Since she is just like on his side like Burt Reynolds, y'all, mangaka knew what they were doing. And I like that Laios is like, well, I was so nervous that I couldn't taste the food properly. And they get mad. They're like, oh, that's what you were worried about? But since she's like, their cooking skills are lacking because they're immortal. They don't have to cook. They shouldn't need fields or dishes, so why do they have them? Why do they persist in cleaning and maintaining for 1,000 years? It's so they don't go crazy. And they can stay sane and keep on living. And then he brings back what Laios said to the orc chief, which I don't quite remember what Laios said to the orc chief. I don't quite remember that conversation. So if y'all want to comment down below what that conversation was, I have forgotten it. And I don't remember exactly what episode it was. It might have been episode 4, maybe. So yeah, Chilchuck, let her go. But then I liked the end of this episode where Laios was like, his hands were cold. Which to me means that like they're immortal, but they're practically dead. Like the illusion and the barrier of magic is the only thing keeping them alive and from being there. If they try to leave, they'll become ghosts and their flesh will rot off. So, talk about the quality of living versus quantity of living. That's a pretty big thing in this episode. So I love that last shot of Laios holding the sword. It's so damn good. But yeah, so no credits. And that's the episode. Oh my God, y'all. Excuse me. I'm really hoping my voice is back. I'm really hoping my voice is back by next week. Hopefully it will be. But I really hope you enjoyed my cosplay of Falin. I really hope you enjoy it. I'm going to try to tweak it and work on it between now and the comic convention I go to. Hopefully, we shall see. But in any case, I'm really excited to see episode 22. I can't believe we only have 3 episodes left. That is wild to me. But, Elfreya, I hope you enjoy this cosplay. I hope you enjoy it. You're living for it. This was a lot of fun to do. I really would like to be, if we get an episode of Falin in the future in season 2, I will for sure dress as Falin for that episode because I love the swig a lot. But anyway, I also hope y'all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'll be back next week and we will see what this cult crazy dimension that we are in is going to lead us to, and go from there with Delicious in Dungeon. Bye.